So we are wrapping up our first official year of preschool with my third son, and it has been a blast. If you're new here, I'm Rian, a Christ-following wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. Here we talk all things homeschool, and we will learn together how to use our roles as wife, mom, teacher, and homemaker in order to glorify God. So I know there are varying opinions on homeschool and preschool and when to start and when to wait and how that should look. I actually did a whole video on that. I will put that in the iCard up above and in the links down below. But you guys know my philosophy, if you've been around here very long, is that I am all about kids playing and having fun and being kids. But that doesn't mean I don't believe in rigorous homeschool. I do believe in pushing kids to their limits and seeing what they can really do in this age where they are honestly little sponges who can soak up pretty much anything and everything you throw at them. Of course, there are limits, but I have had a blast this year doing just that. So we have, done learning things, obviously, since day one. But this is our first year when I got him his own curriculum. He was 3 at the beginning of this school year, so he is just a little over 4 now. He turned 4 in February. So he was so excited to get something that was just his own. And even now, anytime one of his brothers tries to step in and help him with something, he has to scream, which we're working on this, but he has to scream, "It's my preschool!" And so he does enjoy having something that is just his. So that is one reason why we love doing an actual curriculum. But also, while I love, just the hands-on playing and whatever, there's 2 things. One, I think that there is room to also do something more rigorous. But 2, at this stage in life, I don't have the brain space to sit and plan a whole day of fun and activities and learning-based things because I have 2 other kids ahead of him and a baby behind him. So I don't have time to come up with that all on my own like I did for my 2 oldest ones. So we used several curriculums actually and still had a ton of fun and did a lot of learning. So I'm going to let you know what we used and how we liked it and kind of maybe what our plans are next year, although I have another video coming out that will really tell you what we're doing next year. So for our spine this year, we used Sonlight T, which is their newest program. They had a pre-K before, but this year they came out with an official preschool. They revamped it and everything. And it was all about fiction, fairy tales, things like that. So we used this for our Bible spine. We read through Mother Goose and several other picture books. And that was obviously the literature component of it, which is kind of Charlotte Mason-y in the fact that we do a lot of learning through the books. A lot of read alouds. We had a little Spanish in there that I did not do so great on. I'll admit that right now. And we did numbers, shapes, letters, and then they always had an art and life skill box that had stuff in it. We also watched a lot of music videos and things like that. So how did we like this? The Bible, I loved. I shared that in my Bible curriculum video, and it was a great little story Bible we went through. The pictures were realistic. The stories, yes, were short and simple, but they weren't oversimplified and they weren't turned into something that they aren't, if that makes sense. I know some story Bibles can kind of add fluff in there that I'm like, that wasn't really in the Bible. The Bible didn't really say that. I don't remember seeing anything in this story Bible that was blatantly false information. So I really enjoyed that one. I liked the realistic pictures. That was the best part. The read alouds were all a blast. He really, really enjoyed lots of those. Some of them were books we had read before and we just, took the opportunity to pull them back out again. Some of them were brand new to us and it was fun to get to read those. Some of those were childhood favorites of mine that I had forgotten about that I got to share with him, which is always fun. Like I said, I dropped the Spanish hardcore because it just had you really look through a board book that was like my first Spanish words, and I don't speak Spanish. I know some French, and that's about it, and a little bit of Latin from teaching my older boys. So Spanish, it's similar-ish to Latin and French, but not similarish enough. And I, at first was looking up every word, like to figure out the pronunciation and like really going over it and drilling them. And then I was just like, neither of us are having fun. And it was just a drag to look up the pronunciation of each of those words. So he just kind of looks at the book now, and if he wants to know the name of something, he'll point it out and I'll try my best to say it. And if I can't say it, then we'll look it up. But I don't drill it into him every day like I was in the beginning. The numbers and counting, he did so great on. This was actually probably a little below his level, but we did some other things to kind of supplement that. But he identifies numbers 1 through 10 now, and he can count, I don't even know, really high, way past that, but I haven't tested how high in a while. But he can also kind of associate, so like count a number of objects and then connect that, draw a line to the number that is associated with that. He's got that down pat. Or if I can say, count me out to 10 coins, he can do that. The letters, I loved the flashcards with the, kind of sandpapery tracing on them. That really helped a lot. This kid is really funny. I still don't think he knows his ABC song. So the typical ABC song, I don't think he knows it. We kind of accidentally started teaching the sounds before the letter names, which I know that is one common way to teach because they can learn to read easier, supposedly. I've just never done that. We've always just taught the letter names and sounds kind of simultaneously. But this kid just picked up the phonetic sounds a lot faster than he's picking up the names of the letters. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but he's doing great. He is excelling so much. But yeah, he still can't sing his ABCs. He sings like A through H or something, and then goes to Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I don't know what happened to all those middle letters, but we'll figure it out. I figure it's more important to know the letter sounds than it is to know them in order right now. I don't know, maybe not. So Sonlight as a core, super, super great. And honestly, if that was all we used this year, I would have been totally content with that. Especially if I would have used it to its full capacity. There were a few things that I kind of skimped out on in the art and life skill thing. Like there was lots of cutting, and not just like scissors cutting, but like cutting with a knife, learning how to, cut cucumbers and stuff like that. Just basic life skills to get them working on those motor skills. And I just wasn't the best at always doing that because it was just sometimes the extra thing that I just didn't have time for that day. But I really appreciate that it was in there. And we do use it sometimes. The art was all super easy peasy, nothing that involved a lot of materials or instruction, which was fantastic. So our supplements were, we also did The Good and the Beautiful's handwriting. So this is just pre-writing stuff. So this is just tracing and making basic shapes, but I just wanted to start him getting a good pencil grasp and a good, start working on those finer motor skills. But this, we were not like, it's not super instructional. So I don't say he learned anything from that, but it gave him the practice he needed to get a better pencil grasp and to have better control with his pencil. So one thing, like I said, Sonlight's math was kind of a little below him. So I was like, I'm going to supplement. And I got the CLE preschool math books. And I don't know that I would call these math. Like I've heard them called math books before, but they're a little bit of everything. There are math skills in there, but there are also, cross out the things that we should not play with or are dangerous to play with. There's just basic tracing. There is, just a little bit of everything. But the main thing with this is I wanted him to learn how to do a worksheet. So you start top left and you go to right, then you go down, left to right, practice doing things in order, practice listening to direction. So I would read, the one line of instruction from Samuel and Sarah. He always called them his Samuel and Sarah books, which I thought was really sweet because those are the main characters that those books are centered around. And I would read that to him, and then I would kind of see if he would just kind of obey and follow the directions. Sometimes he would, sometimes he would just assume that he knew what I was what I was going to say, and he would start doing it. I'm like, no, hold on, listen to what I say, So it was good practice, even if it wasn't like heavy on the math. Then for fun, we did some Purely Preschool units this school year, and those things are a blast. I love those because they are very much self-paced, and they are very much like do what you want to and leave the rest. Again, Purely Preschool, if you use each of the units at their full capacity, they are a program in and of themselves. You do not have to use other things with them, just like with Sonlight. So people look at what I'm doing, they're like, oh my gosh, that is overkill. Kind of, it could be, but I pick and choose what I want to do out of the two of them. And I do most of Sonlight, and when I would do a Purely Preschool unit, I would do most of it, but I would do it at a slower pace. I wouldn't do necessarily the recommended scheduling, which they tell you right in there. You don't have to follow their schedule. You just do whatever works. And so I would just take them at a slower pace and add them into our Sonlight, and he loved it. Purely Preschool is purely fun. There are academics in there, but it is a lot of hands-on. It's, listen to the story. Let's act out the story. Let's play a game with this. It's just so what preschool should be. So hands-on, and let's use our imagination, and let's explore, and let's ask questions, and it's just super fun. So we did a few of those units, and I recommend those to any preschooler. They're a blast. But then toward the very end of the year, just recently, we have started something new, also from Where'd You Learn That, which does Purely Preschool, and it is Alphabet Adventures. And not to give anything away, but let's just say this might carry on into the fall because it is super fun and just the right supplement to Sonlight. Now again, Sonlight done by itself is more than enough, but I wanted something a little more like what Alphabet Adventures is, and it is so good. Right now, I think they only have A through M available, and that's what we have, and it is brilliant. It's brilliant. There are lots of worksheets, but it is not your typical worksheet. It is not, connect the dots and all this stuff, which there's nothing wrong with those, but it is, again, hands-on. It is, cut out this little picture and trace this letter with the picture. It is, cutting and pasting and matching, and I don't know. My son just thinks he is the bomb.com when we're doing Alphabet Adventures. Now I have done a video on Purely Preschool. If you'd like to check that out, we did kind of a day in the lifestyle where you did a lesson with us, but also I will probably be reviewing Alphabet Adventures once we get a little further into it, and I'll put a video up for that. But I was just looking back, and I thought I had done a video on our Sonlight preschool, and I don't think I have. I did an unboxing, which I will also link if you want to see that. But if you want to see an actual in-depth look at what a day looks like in that, maybe I can take you along to a lesson with us or something. If you're interested in that, let me know down in the comments, and I can for sure do that too. So as far as his growth this year, letter sounds, like I said, are doing amazing. His putting the numbers in order and correlating numbers, written numbers to numbers of objects, he's doing great. He's counting higher than he was at the beginning of the year, and he's just so curious, and he asks so many questions, and he talks all the time, which I'm not a talker. So sometimes I'm just like, I'm just ready for bedtime, just for my ears to have a break. But I love him because he is not afraid to ask anything or talk about anything. And that's how he learns, and I love that about him. So next week we are starting our curriculum picks. So you will hear what we are using for my 5th grader. No, he will be a 6th grader, my soon-to-be 4th grader, and my soon-to-be pre-K. So this was our kind of pre-K 3. We'll be doing pre-K 4 next year, and I already hinted at what we'll probably be using for part of it anyway. So make sure you check in next week for that. And we also have a biblical womanhood video coming in between now and then. So let me know down below, do you have a favorite preschool curriculum? And thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you next time. Bye.